Hello guys, welcome to another episode with Rusi Baby. Sex indeed does not mean the same thing to both men and women. Yes, while men sleep with women, have sex with women for just the experience, women mostly sleep with men for the connection. That is why most of the times one person leaves smiling and the other person leaves crying. It does not mean the same thing to both genders. Sex does not mean the same thing to both genders. Yes, we need to stop pretending, because indeed does not mean the same thing to both men and women. And that is what I'm going to be talking about basically in today's episode. I'm going to enlighten you guys on different ways by which sex does not mean the same thing to both genders. So stay tuned. But of course, before I begin, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also like and comment on my videos as well. Thank you so much for that. So in today's episode, I'm going to be giving you guys the meaning of sex to both genders, so that you can understand that sex indeed does not mean the same thing to both men and women. Firstly, men chase sex for variety, but women give sex for meaning. Yes, that's why a man doesn't need a reason to have sex. All he needs is an opportunity. Once the opportunity is there, that man can have sex with you. That is men for you. That is why a man can have sex with you just because you're tall. A man can have sex with you just because you're short. A man can have sex with you just because you're slim, just because you're dark. He just needs an opportunity. Just because you are available as a woman, he can have sex with you. No emotions attached, no intention, no plans for the future, nothing. Like, he doesn't have anything in mind, like after the whole act, that maybe something might start up. No, he doesn't need to. All he needs is an opportunity. That is how most men operate. What they need is an opportunity. They don't need a reason. They don't need to love you first, or believe that after the sex that maybe something might happen. They just need an opportunity. But the women, you know, give sex for meaning. Yes, a woman can give you sex just for love, for trust, for belief, to have it in mind that maybe after the whole act that something might actually begin to go on between the both of you. That is women for you. That after the whole sex and everything, that something might actually start up. You know how women can be. So it doesn't mean the same thing to both genders. A man can have sex with you now and you guys are done and he's moving on to the next. But when it comes to the women have sex with a reason in mind. They give their bodies with a reason in mind. That is why after sex, the man can just roll over and forget your name, forget that he even had anything to do with you. But you, the woman, you just lie there and you begin to ask yourself, or even ask him, okay, now that we've had sex, what are we? And the man can even be looking at you and be like, what do you mean by what are we? What are we? How? Because to him, he just saw it as an opportunity to quench his desire. So sex does not mean the same thing to both men and women. For men, the goal is just sex. But for women, sex is more like a door to something more. Yes, that is why you can see a man. He can buy you anything. He can buy you heaven and earth, buy you so many gifts. Anything you ask for, he will do it for you. Not because he loves you, but he sees it as payment to access. He sees those things, those gestures, those good things that he's buying for you as more like payments to what he wants from you, access to what he wants from you. That is why when he's done having sex with you, he can just easily walk away, because to him the transaction is complete. I mean, I bought you gifts, I gave you money, I spent a whole lot on you, and now that we are done having sex, we are done. To the man, he can just accept it like that. But to the woman might be feeling, hey, he used me, he dumped me, blah blah blah. But to that man, my dear, he's done. Like, to him, it's already a transaction, a complete transaction. So he doesn't even care. He has already moved on after the act. So that is sex. That is men for you towards sex. There are so many men like that. So to men, it's more like a transaction. It's more like the goal. But to women, it's something that you can use to get something more. That is why after sex, to that man, the tradition is complete, so he has to move on. So, duh, he doesn't need you anymore. But you, on the other hand, you just be like, what is really going on? Why has you'll be asking yourself, why has this man changed after having sex with you? You begin to call him wicked and all of that. My dear, it's not entirely wickedness. It's just that is how most men operate. Yes, sex first, but to the women, it is emotions first. So it's very important that you have understanding what sex means to both genders. So you need to understand what sex means to men, and you as a man, you need to understand what sex means to women. Women still believe in love. Yes, a lot of women still believe in love because most women are driven by emotions. But most men today, not all, but most men today, they're just playing games, they're just running games. That is why a man can say anything just to get you in his bed. He can say so many things. He'll tell you that you're special, you're beautiful. I've never met anyone like you. I've never seen anyone like you. You're my world. You're my heartbeat. I wish I met you before my wife. I wish I met you before my girlfriend. Blah, blah, blah. I love you more than my wife. I love you more than my girlfriend. I love you more than myself. He can tell you anything just to get you. But once that man gets you in his bed, that game ends. That is meant for you. Yes, my dear, once that man gets that sex that he wants from you, he will run because now the game is over. The game is over. Yes, a man that will tell you the truth and stay is really rare. There are men like that, but they are rare. Especially in this 21st century, they are rare. But if a man, runs after having sex with you, my dear, it simply means that that man had plans to escape from the very beginning. So that is why I always say, to men, it's more like a game. Especially to the ones that are not even serious. It's a game. Sex is a game to them. But to women, it's a door to something else. Women feel sex, but men just release sex. Yes. That is why when a woman sleeps with a man, her brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. That is why after sex, her soul connects, her heart attaches, her mind begins to plan a future, begins to think a lot of things. You see a lot of things going through that woman's mind. She will be like, so after this wonderful experience now, what next between me and this guy? That is why when a woman sleeps with a man, she will begin to have a lot of questions in her head, begin to have a lot of thoughts flowing in her head. You see a woman already having thoughts that she has that man already just because of sex. She will begin to call that man her own man just because of sex. She will begin to have thoughts that they're already in a relationship. The guy hasn't said anything, but just because of that sex, she feels something has started. Because to women, sex is more like a door to something more. So she will see herself already planning her own relationship in her head with that guy just because of sex. Meanwhile, the man is just there waiting to wear his boxers and his clothes and just leave. No emotions, no connections. To him, it is just mission accomplished. That is men for you. Women are wired to nurture. Yes, naturally, that is how they are wired. So they give too much. If you give a woman love, she will multiply it. Women are nurturers. If you give a woman a house, she will turn it into a home. If you give a woman a man, even a one that is broken, she will fix that man up. With that nurturing trait in her, she will fix that man up. But once you give a woman heartbreak, she will carry that pain for years. For years, she will be weeping over a man. That is why you see so many women crying over a man that doesn't even care about her, that doesn't even care about her emotions, her tears, her feelings, that doesn't give a fuck about her. But it's the woman is not feeling bad because of the sex, but to her it was not just about the sex, but to her it was as if she was giving her all into that relationship to that man. It was not just her giving sex to that man, but to her she was giving her all. That is why it is not the same thing. Women are moved by emotions. They are moved by their feelings. So it is not the same thing with that of a man. To women, sex is just like more like submission. Sex is submission. Yes, a woman does not need to tell you yes on the bed. She already said yes in her mind, in her thoughts, in her spirit. She already, made that decision and agreed to it. That's why she came prepared. She came looking good, smelling nice, and all of that. That is why after everything has been done, after the acts, she has not just given you her body, but also her trust. To women, sex is submission. So you as the man, just know that you didn't seduce her. She already convinced herself to have sex with you. So that is why a woman gets so shattered. Like, she gets so heartbroken when a man just, tries to just, cut her off after the whole sex. Like, just try to, when a man tries to just take her out of her life, out of his life like trash, it can break a woman. Because to her, she has already given you her trust. She has already made that decision to be with you. But now when you begin to make it look as if like you don't need her anymore, it was just a game and you guys are done, that woman can feel so heartbroken. Women use sex to bond, but men use sex to sample. That is why after sex, a woman will be having this feeling and thoughts in her head that, oh my gosh, that this was a wonderful experience, that the connection, the whole thing was so deep and amazing. She'll be to have a lot of thoughts in her head. But meanwhile, you, the man, on the other hand, you're already there texting someone else. Like, seriously. Because to the woman, it is a bond. It's a sign that, something has actually come out of this thing. At least, yeah, it's going somewhere. It's a door that something more is going to come out of that whatever relationship that it is. But to that man, it doesn't mean that something more will come out of that relationship. That is men and women for you towards sex. To the woman, she felt like both of you just shared energy. But to you, the man, you just wanted variety and nothing more. That is why the woman gets hot after sex. Not because the sex was bad, but because she felt that the sex meant something more to you and the sex will lead to something more. But to you, the man, you didn't see it as that. You just saw it as, something you just do and get over with and move on. Everybody moves on with their lives. That's why sex does not mean the same thing to both men and women. Women attach life to sex, but men don't. That is why right there in the act, during the whole experience, the woman can just be there. She's mourning, she's feeling a lot of things, she's saying a lot of things right in the act. She's not acting, she's actually bonding. That is women for you. But to the man, he's just performing. But to the woman, the experience, the feeling is on another level. That is why you see all those things. She's feeling a lot of things all at the same time right there in the act. Because to the both of them, sex means different things. Women respect men that give them orgasm. Yes. Because to women, sex is sperm is not just liquid. Yes. Sex is not just an act. In fact, if you're a man and you make a woman climax, you have a piece of her memory. You occupy a special place in her memory. I'm telling you. So orgasm is very important to women. It's an experience that is on another level to women. And now that is why a lot of marriages collapse. Because once a woman is not emotionally tied to the husband, a lot of things are bound to happen in that marriage. That marriage can collapse. But any man that makes a woman come, she can even begin to dream about that man. Even if that man is another woman's husband, she will leave her own husband and begin to pursue that man. Because sex is more like a bond, a very strong bond to women. It is not just a performance, it is a bond. But sadly, in so many marriages, a lot of men don't make their women feel anything. You just have sex and that is it. It is not just about the sex. Consider how your wife feels after sex. Consider the fact if she reached her climax after sex. It is very, very important. These are things that will help spice up the sexual life of your marriage. So it is not just the act, but other things involved. Satisfaction is also very, very important. Not just on one side, but from the both sides, both the man and the woman. If not, it can affect that marriage negatively. In fact, it can make that marriage to collapse. So sex is very, very important to both men and women. Women think of the consequences of sex, but men just think of the moment. Yes, right there in the act, that woman might be there having sex with you, but she's already calculating pregnancy, she's calculating her reputation, she's calculating the shame, calculating what the future holds after this whole sex and all of it, everything. But to the man, he's just there having fun. It's not like the woman is not having fun, but a lot of things, different things run. But in today's generation, they don't even care anymore. Sex is no longer a big deal in this generation. People trade sex for anything. People trade sex for data, for hair, for birthday gifts, for shawarma, for cake, for gifts, just for you to take them out. They're already calling for sex as, a transaction. People do it to do a lot of crazy transactions. You see a young lady, just to upgrade her lifestyle, she's having sex with a man that she doesn't even like, be it old or young. And the thing is that when you begin to have such mentality and you begin to behave like that, you end up turning your emotions into ashes. You're destroying your emotions. Your mindset towards sex will begin to change. Your mindset towards the opposite sex will begin to change. But in this generation, love is dead. My advice to this generation is, don't see sex as a chewing gum. Don't give out to your body to anybody just because they give you money. Truly, in this generation, true relationship, true love is now hard to find. My dear, sex is not a game. It is power, it is energy. So save it, value it, and respect it. Don't think that sex is just anything. Be careful. So that is all for today's episode. I would really love to know what you think about today's video. I would really love to know your opinion from both genders, both the men and the women in the house. I'd really love to know your opinion about today's video. So kindly drop your opinions in the comment section. I'll be there waiting. So that is all for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Thanks so much for listening, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also like and comment on my videos as well. Thank you so much for watching. See you in another episode with Rusi Baby.